The sky over Tokyo looked like it was trying to keep a secret. Asa Nakamura sat cross-legged on the roof of the Ministry of Defense building, eyes locked on the constellations barely visible through the city's light-stained haze. Her laptop hummed quietly beside her, the blue screen glow reflecting in her glasses. She liked this spot, far above the buzz of politics and bureaucracy, where the silence was almost honest. She wasn't supposed to be up here. She wasn't even supposed to be working unsupervised. But then again, Asa never followed the rules exactly. She followed logic. And logic told her that when a secured server began broadcasting to nowhere at 3:17 a.m., something interesting was happening. She tapped a few keys, rerouting the audio stream through her custom interface. Static at first. Then, a voice, clear, serene, unlike any frequency she'd ever parsed. Kiravel Neru, Ethra. She froze. Not Japanese. Not any language she'd studied. It was fluid, like music folding into itself. Artificial, but not computer-generated. Alive. The voice continued, almost hypnotic, and then switched. English. Phase alignment complete. Transfer of asset protocols begins. Primary contact, Ministry of Strategic Ascendancy, Japan. Asa's fingers flew across the keyboard, decoding, decrypting. This wasn't a test file. It was a live conversation. A feed from deep within the ministry's classified comms relay. Her pulse spiked. She shouldn't be able to access this. A sudden surge of data flooded the screen, and a window popped open, an encrypted video stream. She hesitated, then clicked play. The video was grainy, but clear enough. In a private government meeting room, 5 officials in black suits sat around a glass table. Across from them stood something impossible. Tall, humanoid, but not human. Its skin shimmered faintly, a pale blue, like moonlight on water. Its eyes were opalescent and depthless, and it moved with unsettling grace. It wore no armor, no insignia, only a draped silver robe that seemed to move even when it was still. The timestamp was just 23 minutes ago. Asa stared, trying to breathe. The being spoke in the same melodic tongue she had heard earlier. One of the officials responded in perfect, fluent English. They were negotiating. No, not negotiating, coordinating. Tokyo's financial algorithm will receive the override seed by next cycle. Use it for the upcoming trade summit. As agreed, your global standing will be bolstered. And in return, one of the officials asked. The being, labeled Eli'Sha in the video overlay, smiled. We learn. We listen. You shape the world, and we listen. The feed cut out. Asa sat in silence, heart pounding. It couldn't be real. Aliens. In active communication with the government. Not invasion. Not war. Partnership. Espionage. Strategic manipulation. Her laptop beeped, a proximity alert. Someone was coming. She shut the lid, scrambled to her feet, and barely had time to wipe her palms on her hoodie before the rooftop door swung open. A man stepped out, tall, mid-40s, black suit. His face was unreadable. Asa Nakamura, he said, calm but firm. Come with me. She considered running, but logic again. 5 floors, no escape. Asa followed. They led her through a floor she hadn't even known existed, below the sub-basement level. The lights dimmed to a cool bluish hue as they entered a wide, circular chamber filled with projection panels and softly humming consoles. And standing at the center was Eli'Sha. In person, it was gentler than the screen had shown. Less intimidating, more curious. Its eyes turned to Asa, and she felt, not watched, but seen. You accessed the whispering network, it said. Its voice was both audible and inside her head. Not on purpose, Asa said quickly. Well, kind of on purpose. But not maliciously. I was just curious. That much is clear, said the suited man beside her. Captain Tanaka, head of security liaison, according to his badge. Your skills are impressive. Most analysts wouldn't have gotten past the first layer of encryption. I wasn't trying to spy, Asa muttered. We know, Eli'Sha said gently. You're not being punished, Asa. You're being offered a choice. Asa blinked. A what? Tanaka stepped forward. You know too much. You've heard and seen what no civilian should. We can wipe your memory and return you to a normal life. Or you can join us. Doing what? Assisting our integration team. Working directly with Eli'Sha and others like him. Helping us understand and refine the data we gather with Lyrian cooperation. Her brain felt like it was spinning. You want me to be a spy? We want you to be a bridge, Eli'Sha said. You see things others do not. Feel in ways that resonate. That is rare. We don't take that lightly. She hesitated. Why are you even helping us? What do you get out of this? Eli'Sha tilted its head. We experience by connection. Your species is rich in emotion, complex in ways we cannot simulate. We do not take. We link. In turn, you gain insight, power, position. And what if people say no? Then we do not link. Asa looked at the floor, then back at him. My brother. Kenji. He's sick. I take care of him. If I do this, will I still be able to protect him? Eli'Sha moved closer, extending a long-fingered hand. He reached gently for her arm, asking permission with a glance. She nodded. A pulse of warmth flooded her skin, and the dull ache in her shoulder, where she'd pulled a tendon carrying Kenji's chair, faded instantly. I protect what matters to those who matter to me, Eli'Sha said. Asa exhaled slowly. Okay, she whispered. I'm in. The elevator ride to the Lyrian sector felt like falling into another world. Asa clutched the access badge clipped to her hoodie, trying not to gawk as the walls around her shimmered, projecting softly pulsing patterns of stars and glowing glyphs. The floor beneath her feet was no longer steel but something smooth and alive, almost like glass that breathed. She had only been on the team for a week. Each day was a mix of covert briefings, code analysis, and long stretches of silent study in a chamber designed to feel more alien than human. But today was different. Today, Asa was meeting the council of Lyrian delegates, not just Eli'Sha. Tanaka walked beside her, stoic as ever. Don't speak unless spoken to. Don't lie. Don't fidget. I never fidget, Asa said, twisting her fingers in the hem of her sleeve. He gave her a look. Just remember, they read intentions, not words. The chamber they entered looked like a cathedral carved from starlight. 7 Lyrians stood in a half-circle. Tall, silent, ethereal. Their eyes shimmered in blues and purples, always in motion, as if seeing through dimensions she couldn't comprehend. Eli'Sha stepped forward. Asa's nerves eased a bit. She is the bridge, he told the others. Her mind is not cluttered by ego. She sees the edge of things. One of the others, smaller, more angular, tilted its head. You trust this, human? She is already bonded, Eli'Sha replied simply. That word again. Bonded. Asa didn't entirely understand what it meant, only that it made her feel like her thoughts were never truly private anymore. A projection appeared in the air above them. A slow rotation of Earth. Certain points flared. Moscow, DC, London. Another set flared brighter. Tokyo, Seoul, Singapore. These are nodes of influence, the small Lyrian said. Your kind's global game board. Eli'Sha turned to Asa. Our assistance to your government is not just for economic power. We are harmonizing decision-making, accelerating peaceful dominance to prevent violent collapse. Subtle control avoids open war. By hacking elections, Asa said, more bitterly than intended. By sabotaging energy grids and feeding misinformation. Several Lyrians shifted at her tone. Eli'Sha remained still. We assist, not command. It is your leaders who choose how to use the tools. But you give them the tools. The room pulsed faintly, like it was thinking. Why Japan? She asked. Why us? Eli'Sha looked at her, voice gentle. You are a society of balance. Precision. In many ways, already adapted to symbiosis. Your leaders do not seek to conquer, only to ascend. Asa wanted to believe that. But a seed of doubt had already been planted. Later, in her assigned chamber, a small space with curved walls and soft violet lighting, Asa stared at the encrypted files Tanaka had handed her. They were flagged as internal briefings from the Russian embassy. She opened one. Inside was a detailed analysis of a blackout in St. Petersburg, blamed publicly on aging infrastructure. But the metadata showed something else, a code signature nearly identical to the Lyrian data seed she'd studied the day before. She compared them side by side. There it was, the same pulse rhythm, the same self-healing node architecture. No human could have made that. Her chest tightened. Eli'Sha had said they only offered tools. But here was evidence of something more direct. A Lyrian-manufactured virus, deployed as sabotage. And Japan had the keys. Asa logged into a restricted archive and began pulling deeper files. She saw incident after incident. Sudden economic crashes, failed launches, data leaks. Each supposedly the result of human failure. Each showing signs of Lyrian code patterns embedded subtly within. She leaned back, trying to process it all. "Are you afraid?" came Eli'Sha's voice. She hadn't noticed him enter. He stood in the doorway, calm, eyes unreadable. "Should I be?" she asked. Eli'Sha walked in slowly, folding his hands behind his back. "You are troubled. I feel it in your thoughts. You said your people just assist. But that blackout in Russia, that wasn't just an assist. That was an attack." Eli'Sha did not deny it. "Not all of us agree on the method." Asa sat up. "You mean, there's a split?" He nodded. "We are not a single will. Some believe in true harmony, through empathy and learning. Others believe guidance must come with consequence. They see your chaos and wish to enforce order before it destroys itself. And which side are you on?" He looked at her, and something in his expression softened. "I have seen dreams, Asa, since our bond began. Lyrians do not dream. But through you, I see moments. Your brother's laughter. Your mother's old lullabies. I feel. That is the path I walk." She wanted to trust him. She really did. "There's a rogue faction, then? Working with other nations?" "Zyar," he said, voice lowering. "He leads the faction embedded with Russian intelligence. He believes Earth is a garden that must be trimmed, not nurtured. His methods are effective, but dangerous. And Japan's government? They know." Eli'Sha paused. "Some do. Others choose ignorance for the sake of results." Asa's mind raced. If this goes public, if people find out aliens are manipulating global politics, even if it's to help, there would be panic, Eli'Sha said. And war. Then we have to stop Zyar. Expose the truth. Eli'Sha stepped closer. Not just expose. Balance it. We must show your people what cooperation can look like before they only see control. A silence passed between them. Then, Asa nodded. "I'm in. But we do it my way. We start with information. Evidence. And we bring people, not just governments, into the truth." A flicker of what might have been a smile passed over Eli'Sha's face. "You are young. But you are not foolish. That is rare." Asa sat back, the weight of their plan settling into her bones. Somewhere below them, the city hummed, blissfully unaware of the quiet war waging above its neon glow. She looked at Eli'Sha. "Let's show them something real." The world never noticed when wars began. Not the new kind, anyway. No missiles, no sirens, just stock prices twitching in patterns only machines understood. Power grids glitching like ghost signals. A diplomat's smile shifting just slightly too fast. It was an echo war, silent, subtle, and no less deadly. Asa stared at the terminal in front of her, code rushing by like a river. Somewhere in that stream was proof of sabotage, of betrayal, and of something even darker. "I found it," she whispered. "Zyar embedded a Trojan in the Oslo Accord files. If the summit signs them, the Lyrian override protocol activates globally." Eli'Sha leaned over her shoulder, his fingers steepled in concentration. That would give his faction full influence over all digital defense systems. Nuclear safeguards. Financial regulators. Even your satellites. "And the world would never know," Asa muttered. "They'd think it was just another system update." Eli'Sha looked genuinely troubled. Zyar has hidden his intent behind cooperative words. He believes that guiding humanity through controlled conflict is the only way to evolve you. Asa pushed away from the desk. So his plan is to start a digital Cold War. Destabilize Earth just enough that his faction can swoop in as saviors. And with Japan already trusted globally, Eli'Sha added, our involvement gives it legitimacy. Asa rubbed her temples. Your people promised to help us avoid war, not start one. We are not unified, Eli'Sha reminded gently. We never were. Our link to your world only amplified our differences. She stood, pacing. What do we do? Leak it. Go to the press. That would start a panic before you're believed. Then who would believe me? Eli'Sha hesitated. Someone who knows you. Who trusts you implicitly. The answer came to her like a whisper. Kenji. The Nakamura apartment hadn't changed. Shoes by the door. The scent of ginger and warm rice still clinging to the kitchen walls. But when Asa stepped inside, she felt like a stranger in her own life. Kenji looked up from his tablet, blinking through surprise and messy black bangs. Asa. She smiled weakly. Hey, Kay. You're back. Sort of. Temporarily. I need your help. His eyebrows rose. You're asking me for help? Is this a dream? I'm serious. She sat beside him, pulling out a microdrive from her jacket. I need you to upload this. You still run that conspiracy channel. Kenji blinked. Sure, yeah. But you always said it was junk. I was wrong. You were onto something. Her voice lowered. You were right about everything. Kenji stared. Wait. Asa, what is this? She handed him the drive. Proof. Aliens. Political manipulation. The Oslo Trojan. A splinter faction of another species trying to take over Earth through diplomacy and tech control. He laughed nervously. You're joking. She met his eyes. Do I look like I'm joking? Kenji stopped laughing. Holy crap, he whispered. You're one of them now, aren't you? Not one of them, she said. But I know one. And I trust him. Kenji glanced at the drive. If I post this, people will either think I'm crazy, or I'll disappear in 24 hours. I'll make sure neither happens. He gave her a long, serious look. Then let's go viral. Within hours, the video exploded. At first, it was seen as an elaborate hoax, digital overlays and AI voices. But then, someone inside the ministry anonymously verified the signatures. Then came the leaks. Not from Asa. From others, people emboldened by the truth finally cracking through. Lyrian technology. Ghost codes. Meetings held in rooms that officially didn't exist. Dozens of nations began asking questions their governments weren't ready to answer. By midnight, the hashtags trended globally. Hashtag Lyrian Truth and hashtag Echo War. Asa stood on the rooftop again, watching the news ticker flash across a blimp gliding over Shibuya. This wasn't how I imagined changing the world, she muttered. You've already changed it, Eli'Sha said behind her. Now comes the harder part, facing what comes next. A low chime sounded from his comband. He turned his head slightly. They've found us. Asa's stomach dropped. Zyar. No. Government agents. Your leak forced their hand. They're trying to contain the fallout. They may see us as traitors. We need to move. Now. Eli'Sha reached for her, but before he could, the rooftop door exploded open. 3 men in tactical gear burst through, weapons drawn. Step away from the girl, one shouted. Eli'Sha moved between them and Asa without hesitation, palms raised. She is under my protection. Not anymore, one of the agents snapped. You're both under arrest for breach of national security. And then, a shot. It wasn't fired from the soldiers. It came from above. Something shimmered through the air, and a pulse of energy blasted into the roof. The soldiers were thrown aside like rag dolls. Asa turned, shielding her face. A figure hovered in mid-air, taller, darker, its form angular and cold. Its robe was black laced with crimson light. Zyar. You should have stayed silent, Eli'Sha. Eli'Sha's posture shifted. Calm no longer. His voice sharpened. Is this your version of diplomacy? Zair's voice was metallic and amused. You're too attached to these fragile creatures. You've dreamed too much. He extended a hand. Energy gathered like a storm. Eli'Sha turned to Asa. Run. I'm not leaving you. A second blast. This one aimed at her. Eli'Sha moved faster than she thought possible. He wrapped around her, absorbing the full impact. His body shuddered, light bleeding from his skin. No! Asa screamed. Zair landed, the rooftop cracking beneath him. Emotional resonance. Always your weakness. Asa caught Eli'Sha as he collapsed. His form was dimming, his skin flickering like a dying star. Eli'Sha, she whispered, cradling him. He looked up at her, eyes glowing faintly. You must finish it. Truth must echo louder than fear. He touched her forehead, one last link. A burst of memory filled her mind, locations, frequencies, the names of other defectors still in hiding. The map to the real summit, an emergency gathering of world leaders now forced into the open by the leak. Zair stepped forward. But before he could strike again, a chorus of lights lit the sky. Dozens of drones, hovering, broadcasting the rooftop scene live. Kenji had sent them. The whole world was watching. Zair paused, gaze cold. This changes nothing. No, Asa said, standing. It changes everything. Eli'Sha's light faded just before dawn. Asa didn't move for a long time, cradling what remained of his presence. It wasn't just the grief, it was the weight of what he'd left behind. His memories now echoed in her mind like waves in a cave, luminous and raw. By the time the emergency team arrived, government officials, scientists, and foreign diplomats who had finally accepted the truth, it was already clear the world had changed. Not with a bang, but with a broadcast. The whole planet had seen it, a living alien, a secret war, and one girl caught between agendas both human and cosmic. And somehow, she was still standing. The summit was moved to a neutral zone, a hidden Lyrian sanctuary beneath the ice shelf in Antarctica, now declassified in light of global exposure. It was an unlikely place for peace talks, ancient crystal towers buried in permafrost, shimmering like frozen time. Asa walked through the corridor with Kenji at her side. He was quiet for once, though his camera gear bounced on his shoulder like a badge of honor. They're calling you the human bridge on the news, he said. It's trending in 5 languages. Asa managed a weary smile. Guess I'll need a translator for my fan mail. You ready? No, she admitted. But I don't think that matters anymore. Inside the chamber, 27 world leaders stood at separate terminals, flanked by their top advisors. Surrounding them were 10 Lyrian envoys, their forms varying in shape and aura, but unified by purpose, for now. Zair was not among them. At the center stood the seat Eli'Sha would have taken, empty, save for the glowing imprint he'd left behind. Asa stepped up to the podium, heart pounding. A Japanese delegate gave a subtle nod. Ms. Nakamura, the floor is yours. Asa breathed. Everything you feared about aliens was true, she began. They've been watching us, influencing us. And yes, they've helped governments manipulate world events. A rustle moved through the chamber, some grim, some already knowing. But what you didn't see is what I saw. What Eli'Sha showed me. There's more than one way to look at control. We've used their help to win, not to grow. We've hidden their gifts behind closed doors when we could have shared them. And in doing so, we invited their worst. She looked toward the Lyrians. There are factions among them, some who believe in cooperation, others who want domination. Zair's plan nearly succeeded because we let our own greed mirror his. The American representative stepped forward. What's your proposal? Asa met every gaze without blinking. We establish a new accord. One that doesn't rely on backroom deals or national monopolies. One where human and Lyrian knowledge is shared, publicly, transparently. You're asking us to declassify alien tech, the British PM said, aghast. That's decades of advantage. Or decades of lies, Asa replied. The world is watching now. You don't have the luxury of secrets anymore. Silence. Then, the South African envoy, young, sharp-eyed, spoke. What would the Lyrians get in return? A soft chime rang through the air. One of the Lyrian delegates stepped forward. It was Cyril, a data empath. Your creativity. Your chaos. Your stories, they said. You have what we lost. Unpredictability. We seek your imagination. Asa's breath caught. She remembered something Eli'Sha had said, Lyrians do not dream. But through you I did. The silence broke. One by one, leaders began to murmur, confer, nod. Tentatively, the Japanese minister was the first to press his terminal. A green circle pulsed into life. Then came India. Then Canada. Brazil. Korea. And then, with a slow exhale, even the U.S. It wasn't all of them, not yet. But it was enough. The new accord was born. 2 weeks later, the first Human Lyrian Research Center opened in Kyoto. Kenji live-streamed the event from the Garden Bridge, beaming like he'd won the lottery. They even gave me a press badge, he said, holding it up. Guess being your sidekick paid off. You're not my sidekick, Asa said with a grin. You're the conspiracy nut who told the truth. Asa had traded her hoodie for a slim-fit Lyrian weave jacket, blue threads pulsing with reactive light. She still hated the attention. But she understood the responsibility now. Visibility meant accountability. A soft breeze passed over the koi pond. Above them, the sky shimmered slightly, dozens of Lyrian envoys now moving freely between nations, no longer cloaked in secrecy. Peace wasn't perfect. It never was. But it was real. A tap sounded on her wrist console. She opened the message, encrypted coordinates. It pulsed with Eli'Sha's signature. Her heart skipped. Kenji, she said, grabbing her bag. I need to go. Where? She looked toward the horizon. Someplace only he knew. Deep in the Okinawan forest, where the tech towers hadn't reached yet, Asa followed the beacon to a clearing. In its center stood a small stone pillar etched with Lyrian glyphs and something else, her own handwriting. She knelt, brushing away moss. There was a sphere, transparent, pulsing faintly. As her fingers touched it, it unfolded into light. Eli'Sha's voice echoed in her mind. This is not a goodbye. Our bond is not bound to time or form. Should the bridge ever falter, let this be the first stone of a new one. Not between species, but between souls. Her throat tightened. A single tear fell into the glyphs, and the stone glowed. The Lyrians hadn't just come for power or partnership. They had come seeking something lost, the ability to connect, to dream. And Asa had given it back to them. 1 month later, a child in Ghana accessed a Lyrian learning stream from a solar tablet. An artist in Poland painted his first piece inspired by alien symphonies. A diplomat in Iran translated her speech into a new hybrid dialect, Human Lyrian trade tongue. And in Tokyo, Asa sat beneath a cherry blossom tree, watching petals fall with her brother. The world wasn't fixed, but it was open.